Experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, brought to you by St. Louis Union Station. St. Louis Wheel Park now offers 3 brand new amusement rides. Chris Ranji, Amy Marks Kors, The Chris and Amy Show.
Check it out. St. Louis, Mound City, we are going to have a great day today.
On 104.1 FM.
Let's take it from the top.
KMOX.
Good morning, friends. Hump day? It is hump day.
Wow.
I can't tell if this week is moving quickly or slowly. It's
You know
one of
what?
those
It's
weird weeks.
It's weird that you say that. I 100% feel the same because in a weird way, it kind of feels like Tuesday, but
Yes.
it feels like it's been a long week.
It feels like Tuesday, but it also feels like it should be Thursday.
Yes.
So whatever, let's split the difference. We are at Wednesday, September 24th. Good morning to you. The Chris and Amy Show is with you until 12 o'clock. 314-436-7900. That is our phone number. You know what to do with the phone number, don't you? Text it or call it. Although people don't use the phone that much these days to make phone calls. You can also leave a voice message on the Odyssey app. And if you would like to watch the show, you can do that too on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
After being reinstated by ABC last night, yesterday, Jimmy Kimmel did return to the air and had some thoughts. We will hear from him in just a moment.
And yesterday, President Trump gave a fiery speech at the United Nations. We will chat with United Nations correspondent Pamela Falk at 9:30.
So how about this? Brendan Donovan with 4 doubles last night. Cardinals beat the Giants, so San Francisco, who looked like they might be a playoff team not that long ago, they have been eliminated officially. Cardinals technically are still in it.
Mm-hmm.
They need a lot of help.
Hey, well, just say, remember a couple of weeks ago when they lost 5 games in a row and gained a half a game?
That's hey, weird things can happen, although they probably won't.
I'm not sure who had a weirder 48 hours, me or the CEO of Tylenol.
So that was Jimmy Kimmel last night who went back to the air, and I imagine a lot of people watched, except for those who had a Sinclair-owned ABC station locally, and there was something close to 70 stations around the country which did not air the Jimmy Kimmel show, and that was Sinclair and Nexstar, both. All of the stations they owned did not air his program last night, including locally KDNL. Because they are a Sinclair station. So if you were watching that, you didn't get to see Jimmy Kimmel. And you probably, I shouldn't say probably, I don't know if you like him or not. It doesn't really matter, I guess. He had what I think in returning was a pretty big deal, just because all of the concern over the last several days about him being pulled from the air and the manner in which it happened and the appearance of it. I think it was a good idea and a good thing that he did come back to the air, whether or not you like his show.
This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
So, and he's right about that. He went on and he said a bunch of different things last night. He made fun of the president. He praised people on the right who came to his defense, and there were several of them, like Clay Travis, Candace Owens, even Ted Cruz came to his defense, even though none of them like Kimmel, and Kimmel probably feels the exact same way about the rest of them. I think the idea is true. We cannot have a situation where the government says we don't like your show because you make fun of us or you are critical of us, so we are going to pressure the companies that own you and make sure that you are off the air. And they caved momentarily, Disney did, but then they ultimately put him back. And I think it is a good thing. Whether or not you like his show, I don't watch it. I don't particularly care for his brand of humor. He's not my kind of guy. But I think it is a good thing that he was back on the air last night.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, with Jimmy Kimmel, what he said the night that he committed the infraction for which ABC pulled his show, talking about the MAGA gang and don't pretend it's anyone but that who killed Charlie Kirk. Well, he was wrong. He was wrong to say it. He was wrong if he was speculating. It was not particularly funny, and it was a dumb thing to say. However, what is so concerning about Jimmy Kimmel being pulled off the air is that it was done so with pressure from the government. If ABC of its own volition decided to pull his show or to
Sure.
give him a talking to, that's fine. That happens all the time with private companies. But this was very clearly pressure from the United States government and the FCC. As Ranj put it, it's a pretty nice merger you got there, ABC. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. That's what's concerning, because free speech does mean you can say stupid things or even hateful things. Pam Bondi had to walk back her statement when she said that free speech is one thing, hate speech is another, because
It
that's
isn't.
wrong.
The FBI completely disagrees
yes,
with you.
that's not true. And she did walk it back. Now, no one told President Trump that because then he doubled down on it. But free speech, as the ACLU warns people who apply to work for the ACLU, hey, you're going to have to protect the speech of some pretty hateful, vile comments. And they warn you because it's tough. Free speech that protects good speech isn't free speech at all, because who's to determine what's good speech? So there is that. I think Jimmy Kimmel handled it about as well as he could, with his monologue, and just looking at the the administration and the pressure that the Trump administration has put on ABC. Well, you can say, one, that it's completely subjective and arbitrary, because you know what? Why were they so mad at ABC? Well, they could be mad at Comedy Central and South Park. They could be mad at The View. Whoopi Goldberg is like literally insane, has said some horrible things about the country, about the president. But what it is what comes to the attention of the president, what bothers him, and then he can take action on it. And it's punitive and it's vindictive, and it is not American to have the United States government pressure and take off the air people because they don't like their speech. And again, final thing on this. The cult of personality around Trump and the Trump people, it becomes so personal when it's not about the Constitution, when it's not about classical liberalism and democracy. Because if you have a cult of personality, there's almost a worshipful attitude towards the leader. So if anyone insults the leader,
They feel like they are being
sacrilegious,
insulted.
and it becomes sacrilegious.
Right.
That's a dangerous place to be.
Right. And we've had this conversation, gosh, a million times. And when we were on the Glover Hour for the time period that our show overlapped with theirs, we talked about this a ton, that it used to be. I mean, just go back to the 90s and the early aughts. We would make fun of the president. Everybody would make fun of the president. And then everybody would laugh at those jokes because that was just the thing you did. Comedians historically have made fun of presidents, and it was just part of the culture, and we all accepted it, and we all laughed at them. And, maybe the jokes were funny sometimes, maybe they weren't. Everybody was all over Bill Clinton in the late 90s for the affair and his, the way he operated. There was so much satire directed his way and George W. Bush's way and even his father's way. And it's just what we did. We were okay with it. And it would be nice to kind of get back to that, where it wasn't seen as an insult. And the reaction wasn't, we better go and boycott that show, or we got to get this guy off the air because he's un-American. I want to get back to that. I hope that we can at some point go there again. It feels like we're never going back there, but I know that these things, things are cyclical, right? So there will probably be a time in our history where we are okay doing that kind of stuff again, and we don't all lose our minds if our guy is made fun of.
Well,
I hope we can get there, but maybe it won't ever happen in my lifetime. It certainly feels like it's not going to happen in my lifetime.
Yeah, let's get back to this because
Yeah.
I think probably people have thoughts. I have a few more thoughts on it as well. But John O'Leary, the motivational speaker, author of the book On Fire, now it's made into a major motion picture, Soul on Fire. He's going to join us next. So we want to have plenty of time for his conversation.
Let's talk to John O'Leary. We'll do that when we come back on 104.1 FM KMOX. It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
Do you have a dark curiosity? Heart Starts Pounding, Horrors, Hauntings, and Mysteries is a weekly podcast hosted by me, Kaylin Moore. Each week, I'll take you on a dark journey through terrifying true urban legends, bizarre true crime cases, chilling tales of backwoods horror, and more. So if you're looking to join a passionate community of the darkly curious, check out Heart Starts Pounding on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, stay curious.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Did you know that warmer weather can have an impact on people with dry eye and who experience itchy, scratchy eyes? The heat makes tear production more important. Tears are essential for overall eye health and clear vision. Without good tear production, our eyes can become inflamed, irritated, and damaged. And those conditions can sometimes be difficult to reverse. It's important to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates if you're experiencing any eye discomfort due to the weather. Call today at 314-966-5000. Make an appointment with doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. They're known as the doctor's doctors because more than 250 local doctors are their patients. In Sullivan, St. Peters, and at their main headquarters, 270 in Manchester. Call 314-966-5000 or online, youridoc.com.
I'm Altima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
Chris and Amy on 104.1 FM KMOX, and the new movie Soul on Fire is coming out, and it features a St. Louisan and somebody that you have heard from and you have seen. He has been a motivational speaker for years, and so he's all over the place, and what he does is truly incredible. And he is the author of a book called On Fire. And again, that is now the basis of Soul on Fire. We have tickets that we're going to give away for a screening of that show. And we're going to do it a couple of times today. And for the rest of the week, you'll have to be tuning in for your chance to win. But we want to talk to John O'Leary, who is a burn survivor and, again, the subject of Soul on Fire. John, it's good to have you on the show today. How are you?
Hey, Chris, man, I got butterflies right now as you're going through that introduction. So I'm doing well, man. I'm awesome, and I'm grateful for your work.
How could you possibly have butterflies? You've been speaking in front of crowds for years. How?
I've been told I have a great radio face. I don't know what that means, Chris,
Stop.
but I'm hoping today to live into whatever that even means. So here's why I'm nervous, man. Why I'm anxious. You work at the station where a man named Jack Buck worked, and a man whose voice and heart penetrated the airwaves and our hearts for almost 5 decades. And so every single time I'm with KMOX, it's more meaningful. And I say this with humility, but truth, man, it's more meaningful than almost any other work I do because we carry forward that legacy.
Well, we're honored to have you on the KMOX airwaves. We're also excited about the new major motion picture, Soul on Fire, based on your book, On Fire. And as we've mentioned throughout the week, you overcame a devastating accident when you were a child. You suffered burns on 100% of your body. And just to kind of set the table for the launching point of your book and your movie, will you kind of explain to folks who maybe don't know what exactly you went through?
Right. And I had an opportunity this morning from 7 to 8:15 of speaking at Mercy. And spoke to several hundred leaders in the room, but several of them were folks who were with me 38 years ago when this thing all went down. So, Amy, when I was a 9-year-old kid, I got burned in a house fire on 100% of my body. I was taken to the nearest hospital, nearest burn center, which at the time was St. John's Mercy. When the doctor reviewed the case and checked out the patient, he recognized, man, that this is almost a hopeless situation, but they went to work. And over the next 5.5 months, through their care and through their love and through some grace from God and love from others, this little boy with no chance of surviving a fire endures, comes home, and then slowly starts rebuilding life. But my commitment as a child was not one day to become a speaker or write books or have a movie made about my life. My dream, you can ask anybody I lived with at the time, was to be normal. So that's what I did, and I did it pretty darn well for 20 years. And then I got this random call from a Girl Scout here in St. Louis, and she said, "Mr. John, will you speak at my school?" And I made the mistake of saying yes. And that yes to 3 Girl Scouts, it's in the film, check it out, led to a second presentation and a third, and then a Rotary Club, and then a Catholic school, and then a prison. And over the next 20 years has led to 2,700 speeches, 50 states, dozens of countries, and now this full feature film. And so how did this happen? By accident and with God's goodness, man. That's what brings us together today.
So we would like for you to tell people about how this movie came about. Of course, you wrote the book, and then now the film that's coming out, and you've got William H. Macy in it, which is incredible because he's such a fantastic actor. He plays Jack Buck in the movie. So tell people about how this all came together.
So, Chris, I was speaking in Las Vegas at a conference. It was at the MGM Grand. And if you've ever been there, it's massive. There are, I think, 28,000 people there. And we did a book signing afterwards. And so book after book, signature after signature. And then a lady named Linda came up randomly and said, "John, have you ever thought of turning this book?" And she held up On Fire, this book, into a movie. And I said, no. So she said, "Well, would you mind if I tried?" And I said, "You're welcome to try." But I honestly, guys, I had never assumed it would fully develop. I just assumed she would try and swing and miss, and that's all right. Well, she was successful. They wrote a script, and then I got a little bit engaged. They hired a director named Sean McNamara, who last summer directed Reagan, has directed Miracle Season, has directed Soul Surfer. So a big time director, but I'm a Midwest guy, man. Grew up in KMOX territory. So I flew out to meet with him to just get a pulse on why he did what he does. And he said to me, "John, I do what I do because I believe that the work has never been more important to remind people that true stories of true overcoming exist in the marketplace today. We need to breathe life back into people and into audiences." And while he said that, he started crying. And I realized this is the kind of guy I can work with. So Sean got in. We raised the required money here in our region to fund the film. We hired the actors. You mentioned William H. Macy. It's an incredible cast of characters who brought to life this true story that happened in St. Louis. It was filmed 2 years ago, 2 years of editing, picked up by Sony. And now on October 10th, in theaters around our region and around the world, the film Soul on Fire plays. And it's ultimately a story not of John O'Leary, the little kid who got burned and he becomes a motivational speaker. It is the story of community. It's a story of heroes. It's a story of good triumphing over evil. And that's the story ultimately that I think our marketplace needs right now.
I love it that there is this deep need today to hear stories of people overcoming, of communities coming together, of goodness, of heroism. I think we do need that as a society. And especially with the nature of your injury, John, I've had such an honor to work with the Midwest Children's Burn Camp and Burns Recovered. And I know the story extends much beyond the injury and applies to people who have suffered something like that and people who haven't. But for those who have suffered burns, the uniqueness of it, the challenges of overcoming that type of injury and just the care that it takes, the struggle that it takes every single day, it's so humbling. And those kids at the burn camp to feel seen. I hope that this film also opens people's eyes to that type of injury because of not the physical, but also emotional and psychological challenges and torture it can create.
Well, you're bringing up a lot. So number one, these kids that have your heart have mine too. And it's why every summer I sneak away from whatever I'm doing to just love on these kids. I purposely wear short sleeves always because I want these kids to see brokenness, scars in front of them. And a guy who's capable and joyful and married with 4 kids, a great life. It reminds them that when they look in the mirror, the thing they see is not ugly. So that's the first thing. What you see, that brokenness in the mirror, does not have to negatively define you. That's a piece of it. Secondly, when you are able to embrace your brokenness and your scars, it allows others to see beauty in theirs. And sometimes that means physical, but Chris and Amy, you don't have to get burned to have scars. So when you are in front of someone who is just comfortable in their own skin, it allows you to share a little bit of your story. And when I speak or when I write, or now we're doing this film, I try to do it in such an intimate way that people almost like feel sorry for me as they turn the page, as they hang on the next word, as they go back to see the film a second time and a third time, because there's an old spiritual writer named Henry Nouwen. Nouwen wrote, "What is most personal and private is most universal and sacred." So the very thing you think is only yours, that ugly part of your life, is in fact the very thing that connects you to people all around you, if you're willing to share it. So Amy, I'm sharing the story boldly, and we're proclaiming the goodness of it in the hopes of sparking these conversations so that other people can come to the table and say, hey, it's nothing like your story, but, and then they talk about their childhood or their bankruptcy or the difficulties in their marriage or with some addiction. This story is a story ultimately about hope and agency, that what you've been through is part of the story, but what you're going to do next is the real part. And I think that's where the focus ought to be going forward.
John, before we say goodbye here, Impact Life is an organization that promotes blood donation. And I know that was a really big deal in your recovery. And that organization is partnered with you in this film. I know that they are a big part of this movie release that's happening soon.
Yeah, in mighty ways. So obviously when you're burned on 100% of your body, there's a lot that's wrong with you. But one of the things that is wrong is you're losing your blood wildly, rapidly. And that's about the end of the journey. So this organization has always had a special place in my heart. We are now also doing theater rollouts, not only in St. Louis, but also around the country. So in unison with their efforts, we are filling theaters with first responders. That's awesome. With burn survivors. Awesome. With their family members. Awesome. And with the nurses who took care of them. So I think we have this going on in like 36 different markets right now, just the celebration of what their work has led to. And the fact that it's just starting, like the foundation is firm. The headwind we face is real, but our best days are in front of us. And Soul on Fire is a reflection of that truth.
Well, John, we are very much looking forward to seeing the film. We're thrilled that you talked with us today, and I know that you are very excited about it. And we thank you so much for visiting with us on the show today.
Love you, Chris. Grateful for you, Amy. And then, by the way, October 10th, get your tickets, people. SoulOnFireMovie.com.
Let's go. October 10th is the release of the film. That's John O'Leary, who is a motivational speaker. His book is called On Fire. The movie is Soul on Fire. And we actually happen to have some tickets to give away for a screening, a private screening of the show on October 2nd, which is next week. And we have 2 4-packs of tickets to give away for that, thanks to Jerry Kelly, Heating and Air Conditioning and Plumbing. And those folks are awesome, and they have rented out the theater so that they can do this, part of our 100 Acts of Kindness. And we are looking for caller number 6 to the contest line, 955-1120, 314-955-1120. We got 2 4-packs of tickets to give away. One of them we are giving away now. When we come back, Pamela Falk, United Nations correspondent. She is joining us. The president spoke there yesterday to the General Assembly. We will find out what she has to say next on KMOX.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Miklasz.
Chaim Bloom's going to do this. He's going to tell people exactly what a rebuild means and exactly what his plans are. And I don't know whether people get mad or they'll appreciate the honesty, but the worst thing the Cardinals can do, they just got to move forward with it. If it means taking their lumps with negative fan reaction, well, they've already gone through that.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. That's right, weight loss seminar at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
Well, it is a muggy one out there today. You're probably feeling it right now. A little bit cooler, a high of 75, currently at 68. Tonight, cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, a low of 60.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has brought cheers to their fans for decades with the best styles, cutting-edge tech, and good old family values. Get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Let me tell you about this new Pretzel Cheddar Club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with cherry berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Our office computers were from like 2012.
What? They had computers then?
Yeah, I don't know much about new tech.
Apparently.
So I went to Staples and saved big on an AI-powered HP laptop and HP OfficeJet Pro printer, which also came with 3 months of free instant ink.
And we're back in this century. During Staples HP Tech Event, save up to 35% on HP printers and up to 40% on AI-powered HP PCs.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. Until 11/1, select models only.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Today, the Cards, the Giants.
Cameron Total Access 750.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
End it now. Sid, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. In America, we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration.
Chris and Amy on 104.1 FM KMOX, and the president spoke yesterday at the United Nations General Assembly, and we are joined now by UN correspondent Pamela Falk, who is one of our favorites in the, what was it, the Bringer of Doom? What is it, the Carrier of Doom? What is it?
I think it was the Bringer of Doom, the Voice of Doom, the Bringer of Doom.
Voice of Doom.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Hi, Chris. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Pamela.
Hi, Pam.
It's good to talk to you.
Well, you know this place firsthand, so it's crazy at its best day, and this is just wild.
Well, Amy knows I wasn't invited.
Yeah,
so.
we had to kick Chris out for that
You're
one.
invited. You're invited.
Okay.
After Unga.
Okay, well, Pam, why don't you give us your highlights from yesterday, where President Trump
Right.
gave one of his, quote, characteristically bellicose messages at the podium. So, yeah, kind of lay it out for us about what happened yesterday.
It was really interesting because 7 years ago, Trump's UN audience laughed. This year, he got some laughs in the beginning with him. And then people were silent. They were a little nervous about what he was saying. So, but no boos, no walkouts. And he had to go impromptu because, of course, everyone knows about teleprompter gate. The teleprompter failed, the escalator failed, and during his speech, I was watching it live, and I didn't know this because I was watching it live, but the translation flew into Portuguese at one point.
Oh,
so you
okay.
could
Well,
see
that's not helpful.
I know, and Lula was just there before, the Brazilian president. So I thought, oh my God, is it Lula speaking on top of Trump? It was crazy. But the bottom line was he went through each piece and couldn't have contrasted more than to most of the world leaders in a speech that was against multilateralism, against UN institutions and multilateral institutions, and in favor of what he calls America First, what's really a nationalistic guard your sovereignty and take care of your country approach. And so he first starts with the UN and, of course, says it's inefficient and empty words, and then goes on to the economies, because his main focus was his two hobby horses, which are immigration and climate change, with regard to the UN and, of course, the Middle East. And he said their countries, world leaders' countries, are going to hell. And so it was a very combative speech, and I think even more so because it was impromptu. But he started talking about the glitches and got quite a few laughs. So he sort of warmed up the audience, so to speak. Then he went on to climate change, called it a hoax and a con job. And even the United States was originally on board with the UN climate agreement. And then, of course, President Trump pulled out. So all of it then went to migration, where it was definitely urged countries to turn away from global migration, blame the UN for some of the U.S. migration issues, and then went on to the Middle East, where he chided France and other countries for recognizing Palestine when as he said, just get the hostages out and make peace. So that, and then the biggest headline of all was a real turnaround on Ukraine-Russia war. And that is that he was all of a sudden very supportive of Ukraine, saying that Russia looks bad because they couldn't win the war right away. And then, of course, saying that he will impose sanctions on Russia if they don't come to the table.
Yeah, it's interesting you mention his combative tone, and it can be very antagonistic, which can overshadow the fact that he had some valid points, or at least perhaps the basis, like with the UN being something of an anachronism when they're not acknowledging Russia, or their failure to call out terrorist organizations or countries that are oppressing women, or the fact of immigration in Europe has been hugely controversial. A lot of those issues are very much valid and on the forefront of people's minds, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And in fact, in each one of those cases where he was combative, he then, in the same speech, sort of reversed course a little and said, look, we are behind the UN 100%. So that, he said, it just needs to be reformed. On immigration, he said, we're a country of immigrants, but we have to maintain our borders. And on Iran, a lot of countries agree with him that there can be no biological or nuclear weapons. And he's setting about to renegotiate with Russia on the nuclear arms treaties, the New START treaty. So all of it was, look, we have to do this and we have to do that, but it wasn't poorly. I mean, it was somewhat well received on a lot of fronts, and a lot of the policies are policies that the UN and separate diplomats like the Gulf states agree with him that Hamas has to go. And in fact, the General Assembly passed a resolution saying Hamas has to go and disarm and go, and the hostages have to get out. But the Security Council is tied up in post-war in its constitution because it was set up in 1945. So a lot of the Gulf states feel like, oh, look what Hamas did on October 7th. We have to get rid of them. And so he just disagrees with recognition, but that's been the U.S. policy, that you have to negotiate rather than try to start something and unilaterally claim it. And that's been why it's so antagonistic to Israel. So there are a lot of policies that he said that are very popular, but people don't want to say they're popular.
Right. Like, it's like rewarding Hamas for taking hostages and brutally murdering 1,200 people. Okay, we'll give you a state. That is horrific.
Right. Most
and
countries
appalling
agree
policy.
with that,
Yeah.
except for No, look, it's a I mean, I know you were quoting my sons when you call me voice of gloom, but it is, it is a very difficult time in the world. I mean, look around. You've got the big ones, Middle East and Ukraine, and then you've got Sudan falling apart and Haiti falling apart. I mean, there's a very tough time in the world. And what he did make a point was that the UN did serve its purpose and does serve its purpose when it can go to and help countries that the U.S. and other developed countries can't do. And so it just, his point was it has to reform. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come. He could have stood up the UN. The U.S. is not paying the dues right now. But he likes the UN. I mean, we know that. We saw him 7 years ago when he came to the UN, and he's a New Yorker. He likes the UN. He wanted to renovate it.
So we mentioned the teleprompter thing, which got a lot of headlines, and so did the escalator. That he got on it, and then it stopped, and Carolyn Levitt was upset. And she blamed somebody and said they need to be fired for it. So what happened with the escalator?
Well, we got a late night missive last night from the UN about 8 p.m. last night that said, look, this is what happened. One of his security and a photographer may have tripped the escalator by going up in front of them and standing backwards, and that trips the escalator. Now, I don't know about finger pointing or anything else, but it was just a bad omen at the very beginning of his walk into the building that this happens. He comes in the diplomat's entrance, looks at the crowds of us who were standing downstairs to see if he'd say something before he even gave his speech. I mean, packed. And then, just smiles at everyone, says hello, doesn't answer any questions, walks with the first lady and gets on it. And it must have been 2 seconds, and then boom, it stopped. And it just, he kept a good sense of humor about it. In fact, said, mentioned it in his opening that, I mean, let's talk about the UN, the inefficient things. And so Carolyn Levitt and others were saying, look, there was some kidding of people saying earlier, there were some reports of people, staff saying, well, he's not paying his dues. Maybe the escalator could break. And so they were going to look into it. So who knows? I mean, it's escalator gate.
Oh, man, there's all kinds of gates. Good thing there wasn't a gate on the escalator.
Then he gets up there and the teleprompter's not working. And so, and it had worked for Lula, and it had worked for the Secretary General and the new German president of the General Assembly, but it failed. I mean, look, they've been doing so much. I mean, you have to have seen it. I tweeted it out. They were clipping the lawn and putting all the flowers in and clipping the trees and putting, fixing what was already some broken escalators in the Secretariat building. And they thought they were in good shape, but it's the UN. It was built. I mean, the building was built in the 1950s. I mean, it was renovated, but not to everyone's standards. In fact, my friend who was, a colleague who was the Mexican ambassador to the UN said they spent $2 billion, maybe even in overruns $3 billion, and they didn't put Braille. He's sight impaired, and they didn't put Braille on the voting. So he has to ask somebody next to him which is yes and which is no in the General Assembly Hall. So, they're just things that didn't get done. I mean, you still can't open the windows, and this place is crazy. And so, I don't know. It's just, it's the United Nations. It has, you have to think back. And Amy's heard me say this, but to the second UN Secretary General, who said the UN's purpose was not to bring us to heaven, but to save us from hell. And it does, it does succeed in that.
Well, that's good. At least we're getting somewhere. Pam Falk, we love talking to you.
So much.
Not that much doom today, just a little inconvenience.
No, exactly. I got stuck in security, and I was texting you guys saying, oh no, I'm stuck. I mean, they change the rules every day, and you're going in circles, and I run across the river from 47th Street. It's quite beautiful, and I think I'm, getting a lot of steps in.
Well, that's good. At least you got that much. You were the best. Thank you, Pam Falk.
Not great talking. I love the program. You know that.
We do.
Take care.
And we love you too. That's Pamela Falk, United Nations correspondent. And she's just trying to navigate that big old building.
It is. Hey, Ranj,
yeah.
You know what Mitch Hedberg said, though? An escalator doesn't break. It just becomes stairs.
Yes. And the sign says what? Sorry for the convenience?
Yeah. Sorry for the convenience.
Did you see this? Next on KMOX.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, focusing on the Siteman Kids program at St. Louis Children's Hospital, and Dr. Mohammed Abdul-Baki.
We have a large global program that people do not know about, thinking this is St. Louis in the center of the country, and we get consulted on a large number of international consults.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And right now, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is offering their lowest ticket price in years, starting at $55, including fees, only for a limited time. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Tom Ackerman here for Busey Bank and Building Community. We honor the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum for using the history and lessons of the Holocaust to reject hatred, promote understanding, and inspire change. Visitors to the museum are empowered to translate the history of the Holocaust into meaningful action to make our community stronger. Visit the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum in person and online at stlholocaustmuseum.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey. Building Community is creating bridges that bring people together. A visit to the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum reminds us that by rejecting hatred and embracing understanding, everyone feels safe, valued, and connected. A community where everyone thrives is what Building Community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
Be part of the moment as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra returns home to Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Conducted by music director Stefan Deneve. Opening weekend, Fanfare for Powell Hall opens a monumental season with a trio of fanfares featuring Grammy Award winner soprano Joyce DiDonato, composer in residence Kevin Putz, and Richard Strauss's Ein Heldenleben. September 26th, 27th, and 28th. Tickets at slso.org.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 And always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Markscores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM KMOX. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Ranj, I don't know if you saw this, but punting is dying.
Punting?
Punting.
Like in the NFL punting?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
NFL teams are punting just 3.65 times per game this season. That's the fewest punts per game in history.
Oh, that's great.
Offenses, there's a few reasons why. Offenses are starting with better field position, right? Thanks to the new kickoff rules.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches apparently are increasingly willing
This
to
is a huge part of
go
it.
for it on fourth down.
Yep.
Go for it on fourth down. And field goal kickers are getting more and more accurate from long range. So punters are not being utilized as frequently as in the past. In fact, less than ever.
That's super interesting, and it's accomplishing exactly what the NFL is trying to accomplish.
Someone said, finally, a job that's becoming obsolete, and it has nothing to do with AI.
Well, there you go. And it's true. I mean, these kickers are unbelievable. Routinely over 50 yards, close to 60 yards, like it's nothing. Someday they might have to adjust that.
They might.
Because you can't just have guys kicking from the 50-yard line and it's goes through easily.
Yeah, they're going to have to make it like putt-putt where they throw obstacles like a clown mouth or maybe a windmill in front of the kick.
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
Oh, my God. Or wind.
Oh,
like
wind?
there's a sporadic wind machine that you have to guess when it's coming through.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a dome, obviously.
Well, I mean, I believe it because I've seen some of those college game day kickers. Those kids, they pull a random kid to make a field goal for money. They're doing pretty well.
It's awesome.
It's insane.
I got another sports one for you,
Yes.
Amy. Did you see that the ABS system is officially coming to Major League Baseball next year? ABS,
Automatic
what is it?
brakes?
No, that's different.
Anti-lock braking
Not
system.
no, anti-lock braking apparently was dangerous. That's what
I think that's
there's
what
a whole
we
thing
drive.
about the ABS system from back in the day that it was really bad on slick roads that the tires would lock up if you didn't
So
brake
then why in the
correctly.
world is Major League Baseball implementing it now?
It's automatic balls and strikes.
Oh.
Yes. So it is a challenge system, Amy. And what will happen is each team gets 2 balls and strikes challenges per game. And if a player, a batter, or a pitcher, or a catcher thinks that the call was wrong, they can tap on their helmet or tap on their head, and they can challenge the play. And they can challenge the call, and it could be overturned.
Okay. Just clarifying, you're saying the player can do this.
Yes.
And they have 2 per game.
Each team has 2 per game.
Don't you think that coaches and managers will absolutely have to monitor a player? You can't have a hot-headed rookie, right? Like using your 1 or 2 precious challenges.
Yeah, you would.
The manager would have to. It has to come from the dugout, right?
It doesn't have to, but they're going to have to set up some sort of agreement
Yeah.
that, hey, maybe look to the dugout and ask me.
Like,
and
I'd
then
be
we'll,
so mad if, like, you always used our challenges because you
like
always
on
thought
the first pitch of the game.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's a no, wait, come on. We need to save that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. But look, I am a proponent of all of the strikes and balls being called with this system, but I will take incremental steps forward. So at least the challenge system is something better than nothing. Hey, you want to talk bugs,
Yes.
Amy?
Spiders,
You want to talk spiders?
arachnids.
Spiders aren't
bugs.
They're arachnids.
That's true. They're not bugs. So I better not say that.
Well,
to
but I
our
think
next
our
guest.
expert is an expert in bug facts
Yes, she
as
is.
well as
She
arachnid
is-
facts.
That's right. She is an expert in bug and arachnid facts. Becky Hansis O'Neill, PhD candidate at UMSL in the biology department, is going to join us next because tarantulas are on the move.
What?
Tarantulas in Missouri. We'll talk to Becky when we come back on KMOX.
Hey, just check the mail. We've been invited to a seminar and dinner is free.
It's going to be chicken, and it'll taste like Play-Doh.
Don't be fooled. All seminars are not the same.
For example, Steve All, an investment advisor representative and founder of the All Financial Group, will be hosting his Taxes in Retirement Seminar at Bishop's Post, October 7th and 9th. From the big beautiful bill to taxes on your Social Security, Steve will not only cover the hurdles you'll face in retirement, but ways to keep more money in your pocket and less in Uncle Sam's. This is a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
You know, hon, I've always been interested in us buying a timeshare.
I'd rather eat Play-Doh.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Thinking about back taxes to the IRS can be very unsettling. Don't lose hope. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, TRA is resolving taxpayers' delinquent tax problems nationwide once and for all. We could significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe the IRS. If you haven't filed your taxes in years or are already facing collections, we can help. We aren't just some run-of-the-mill tax service company. We specialize in helping individuals and businesses with $10,000, $50,000, or even $500,000 in back taxes get speedy resolution. And in many cases, only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. The IRS isn't going anywhere, and neither is your tax problem. To see what tax relief you qualify for, visit TRA.com or call 800-335-8578. 800-335-8578. Again, that's 800-335-8578. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than 4 for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada.
It is 10 o'clock and we've got cloudy skies, 69 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. A mass shooting at a Dallas ICE facility leaves several dead and wounded. CBS's Lacey Beasley is on the scene.
6:40 this morning, that's when Dallas police responded to an officer assist call in the 8100 block of North Stemmons. That's exactly where we are right now. That preliminary investigation says that a suspect opened fire at an ICE facility. We are learning that those victims were staying in the Sally Port area. Those two of the victims transported to a local hospital, and we are learning from Dallas police that one of those victims did die on scene, as well as the suspected shooter.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky speaking before the UN General Assembly a day after his meeting with President Trump, who did an about-face and declared Ukraine can win the war with Russia with backing from the European Union. Zelensky condemned Russia and appealed for more military aid.
If it takes weapons to do it, if it takes pressure on Russia, then it must be done. And it must be done now. Otherwise, Putin will keep driving the war forward wider and deeper.
Tomorrow's hearing for a new data center at the former Armory complex in Midtown has been postponed after the developer requested a continuance. That developer needed more time to comply with a recent executive order signed by Mayor Spencer that requires data centers to hold public hearings and obtain a conditional use permit or prove the center won't threaten public welfare and safety before any construction could begin. The city's forestry department is still trying to determine how many trees were lost in the May tornado. Forest Relief Executive Director Meredith Perkins believes it's probably well over 10,000 trees.
We know that different neighborhoods have different
tree canopy, and that impacts air quality, and it impacts aesthetics, and it impacts how many people want to walk down the street in the middle of July.
North City was already low on trees, and it's even worse now. Forest Relief has been planting trees there for several years, and the young trees were flexible enough to withstand the storm, which is encouraging.
Because we're planting for the future, and we have to do that now in order for those trees to be established for, the next 20, 30, 50 years.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. After heavy resistance from retailers and distributors, a bill to ban the sale of unregulated hemp and cannabis products in St. Louis County has been dropped. The bill from Councilwoman Lisa Clancy was aimed at THC products sold at gas stations and convenience stores. State lawmakers for the past few years have debated putting those products under the same regulation as marijuana, but get the same pushback. The weather is sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies.
Rather cloudy and humid this afternoon with a shower and thunderstorm, high 74. Mostly cloudy tonight with a shower or two, mainly early. Some clearing late, low 60. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, high 77. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it's 69 degrees and cloudy in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by St. Louis Union Station. Twists, turns, and tons of fun await to the new rides at St. Louis Union Station.
A tarantula!
Chris and Amy with you this
Was Psycho
morning
about tarantulas?
on a Wednesday.
That was about a crazy guy with a knife. Anyway,
we like to mix genres here.
Yeah, we sure do.
A tarantula. Well, there was a headline recently that, according to the Missouri Department of Conservation, that means you Missourians, maybe the bi-state area, need to keep an eye out for one of Missouri's largest spiders, the Texas brown tarantulas, who happen to be on the move. Sounds a little bit like a minor league baseball team, which would be less threatening, but it is not. The Texas brown tarantulas are arachnids, and to give us a little bit more information on these big spiders is Becky Hansis O'Neill, PhD candidate in UMSL's biology department. And Becky, thank you for joining us to talk spiders, which I'm sure is giving some people the creeps.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. What do we need to know about this bit of information put out by the Missouri Department of Conservation about the Texas brown tarantula? And
Sure.
they're on the move. Have they been here before?
Oh, yeah. They've been here for a long time, since the end of the Ice Age, we think. They've been living in Missouri. And they're on the move right now because it is mating season.
Oh, so where are they going? Like, I mean, don't you just kind of hang out with
Is
the
it
other
like one of the
tarantulas?
Chaminade mixers where the like
supposed
Villa
to-
and Chaminade get together? Well, not mating
I mean,
season.
come on,
sorry.
mating. See, we're
Not
talking about high
mating.
school
Oh,
kids.
yeah,
We can't-
sorry, not mating.
No, Amy.
No, I
No.
didn't mean mating, but it's a spider mixer, I should say. Gosh, I didn't realize how horrible that was until you brought it up. I apologize to everyone.
Aren't you glad you came on, Becky?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anyway,
Hey,
continue.
let me go ahead and answer that question, because I have a general question.
Yeah, so the female tarantulas live in burrows, and they tend to stay in one place. So September, October, the males that are mature and ready to make baby spiders, they have to go find these females. So the ones you're seeing walking around everywhere are the males looking for mates.
So where would you see them walking around?
So the reports I've heard are usually southern Missouri, seeing them walk around, but basically anywhere from St. Louis down where you have glade grassland habitats, so more of these dry, hot grasslands, you might see some around there.
So, okay, that's what I was gonna so not in your house, or would you see them in your house, or would they be in the woods? They'd be in the grass. Where would they be?
Grasslands, roads, if you happen to have some nice sunny spots on your property and you have glades nearby, you might see them walking around your property. Very, very rarely you may get a male in your basement, but that is very atypical. I would not expect it.
Well, how come only a male?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Are the females
What are they
purposely
doing?
not walking around?
Yeah, they like to sit and stay still. The strategy for tarantulas is be as lazy as possible. The females will stay in their burrows as long as they can. The males come to them. They're not going to go find males to mate. So the females tend to mostly stay in one place. So it's really rare to find a female just walking around.
That's like humans at every bar. The women just stay there. Men come up constantly trying to get phone numbers and that sort of thing.
Ron just relating way too much to this conversation.
Well, luckily, ladies at bars are not going to try to eat you.
But the lady tarantulas might?
Yeah, there's always a chance if the males don't play their cards right that the female might eat them during or after mating.
Okay,
or
so
she just doesn't like them.
Wait, hold on a second. So what is playing their cards right? What do you have to do to not be eaten by the female tarantula?
Well, you have to pick a female who wants to mate. So you need to, they probably use smell, we think, to figure that out. And then lots of tarantulas, the males will do a little tap dance right outside the burrow. And if the female taps back, that's a good sign.
Oh.
But the males also have little hooks on their legs that they hook into the female's fangs, so she actually can't bite them during mating. So they have some defenses.
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to ask if the female decides that she doesn't like that guy, and so she is going to eat him. Does the male fight back, or is the female pretty much successful in ending his life?
They'll try to run away. And they're not so much smaller than the females. It's not like other spiders. So they'll try to run away or hook those fangs so that they can mate and then try to get away. But sometimes they're just not fast enough or strong enough.
So is this similar behavior to because we always hear about the praying mantis, that's what they do? The women or the females will
That's the black widow spider too.
Oh, maybe it's both. I don't know. Becky, what is it?
Lots of spiders do this. Some spiders, the males, they know or they don't know, but getting eaten, that's 100% of the time. They don't try to get away. Here, have a meal out of me, lay lots of eggs. And with the mantises, they get eaten with a really high frequency too. But the tarantulas, the males really want to get away. They want to mate multiple times.
Is it not possible to learn, I guess, over the, is evolution not part of this, where they can learn that, hey man, these they keep eating us. Have you noticed? How do they not figure this out?
Well, sometimes it's a good strategy just to feed your mate. And there's a very specific reason. Spider mating is very weird. I don't know if you want to hear.
Yes,
how
I
they
do.
it.
Yes, very
How
much.
PG do we need to be?
Becky, it is
Yes,
10
no,
in the morning.
Keep going. This will keep me alive for the rest of the show.
Okay. So tarantulas, they take about 5 to 7 years to mature. The females can live over 20 years. So they live a super long time. The males can't mate until their final year of life, which is in that 5 to 7 year range. And once they mate, they get these special organs on the end of their pedipalps, which are kind of like their hands. They're sitting near their face. If you look at a spider, you'll notice them. So they make a web. They deposit their sperm on the web. They use their little hands to suck up that drop that they made. Then they go find the female and use those little hand specialized body parts to inseminate her. I'm trying to be very scientific. And they hold her fangs back and then they try to run away. And then they die that same season.
And then they die.
So they know they're going to die anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if they know it, but evolutionarily, yeah, they're going to die anyway.
Right. It's not like this.
Might as well get one in before I kick it.
No, but they are. It's not like this male spider would have lived a long and thriving life. Whether the female eats him after mating or not, he was going to die that year, pretty much.
So they had it coming.
They had it coming.
Okay.
So why not help feed your kids?
Do we know why this is the process? Like, in this species, does it make sense scientifically for the males to have a 5 to 7 year lifespan and the females to live longer?
So for what I have understand, and I'm sure there's a spider biologist that knows a little bit more about this particular thing than me, is when the males get those organs on their pedipalps on their hands, they can't keep molting. They can't keep shedding their skin and growing. And the females never have that problem. So they can just get old. They can have lots of babies every year, a couple years, and they don't have to worry about that. So I think there's something physical with the males that they just can't keep growing and molting once they sexually mature.
These lady tarantulas have it made.
They do, unless they get visited by a tarantula hawk, which also lives in Missouri.
A tarantula
Is
hawk?
that the official name?
Yeah, it's a type of wasp.
It's a wasp?
Yep, it's really horrible. Do you want to hear about it?
Yes.
Wow,
Don't ask, just tell us.
It's amazing to feel absolutely blindsided by your lack of knowledge. Like, that's how I feel right now.
Not hers, ours.
Oh, yeah, not yours, We're blindsided
Yep.
by our absolute and profound lack of knowledge on this, and it's insane.
Tell us about this tarantula
Yeah.
hawk.
So this is a really big wasp. I'd say 2 to 3 inches long, shiny blue, very pretty. They're not aggressive. If you see one, just leave it alone and you'll be fine. And they don't live in nests. It's just a single female that's out there. So when they find a tarantula, they do battle with it and they sting it, and that paralyzes the tarantula. Tarantula's still alive. They drag it into a hole, or even the tarantula's burrow I've seen. They lay some eggs, and the baby wasps eat the tarantula while it's still alive.
Oh,
wow.
That's horrible.
This is,
What? Why do they do that?
and we
Why
thought
can't they
the,
just-
we thought the worst thing we were going to talk about today was like the Cardinals not making the
I know, what-
playoffs. This is terrible. Wow.
This is a real competitor.
I'm
to that.
actually
So why do
looking
they?
at a picture now. It's insane how big the tarantula hawk is.
Why do they do that instead of just killing it and then letting the babies eat it?
Oh, fresh is better than a fresh tarantula is better than a rotten tarantula.
Yeah, why you get lobsters at the grocery store out of the tank?
Oh, that's a
It's
great
kind
point.
of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess it is. All right, so
This is so it's so interesting. And Becky, I'm sure people talk about this all the time, but we have our, I would say maybe naive or softened ideas of nature, like in coloring books and in cartoons. But man, it's brutal.
It's pretty metal.
Yeah. I mean, this is insane.
So, all right, just a general question. And I know a spider is not a bug. Are bugs considered animals?
Yeah, they are. They are in the group Animalia with us. Yep, so they're animals.
Okay.
Another general question, which I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. The Texas brown tarantula, are they poisonous, and are you in trouble if you get bitten?
This is a great question. This is one I get all the time. So they are venomous, but unless you're allergic in the same way you're allergic to a bee sting, you're not going to be in trouble if one bites you. The worst part is going to be the fangs because they're so big. They're also not prone to biting. So me and other students at UMSL have been researching them in the field for like 4 years now. No one's ever been bitten. They haven't tried to bite us. The species we have here, the Texas brown, is very docile here in Missouri. So the first things they like to do are slap the ground in front of you if you bother them. They'll show you their fangs before they slap. And they also have these things called urticating hairs. I call them booty hairs.
Okay.
So I'll try to make it succinct. But basically, if you make them mad, they have these little hairs on their abdomen, and they use their feet, and they kick those hairs into the air so you can see them. They look like little pieces of fuzz, and they're basically like fiberglass. So if they get on your skin, or if you're a predator, they get in your nose or your eyes, they're super irritating. So you're going to get booty hairs, you're going to get slaps and threat poses showing the fangs, but they really aren't bitey. And the venom of most tarantulas is really quite weak. They don't kill people. So if you find one, don't worry, you're not going to die.
Here's one thing I do know. We're talking about our lack of knowledge. It's a semantics thing. But animals are venomous. They're not poisonous.
I know. As soon as I said, she was so kind. She didn't correct me, but she used the correct verbiage while she answered the question.
Are you impressed that we knew that?
Well, no, I didn't know it. I said poisonous.
Oh.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
It's not something I worry about because just when we're talking, people know what you mean when you say poisonous. There's no reason to be a jerk about it.
Thank you. There is no reason to be a
But you
jerk about it.
can, because you're going to be Dr. Hansis O'Neill pretty soon.
That's right.
And then you can really lord it over people.
So here's a question about spiders generally, because I've always heard you don't necessarily want to kill them if you find them in your house because they're eating the bugs, like the other bugs, the other insects. Is that true?
It is true, but one thing I'd say, if you do have a lot of spiders in your house, that probably means there's a lot of things there for them to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You might have some other problems, but they are good, especially out in your garden and in the yard. Yeah, they're going to be controlling pests and doing good work. In the house too, we other than the brown recluse, we really don't have anything that has the potential to be real dangerous for you here in Missouri.
I know when I was growing up, we definitely had brown recluse spiders in our house. So we had to put the sticky traps out. Occasionally you'd get bitten, but those are the scary ones.
Becky, is there any other spider knowledge you think we need to have before we say goodbye?
Oh my goodness. Well, we covered all the cool things about the tarantulas.
Okay.
I'd say in Missouri, we're about as far northeast as you can go. So we don't have as many per like square acre as you would get, say, in Texas or in Colorado. So the ones that we have here, like I said, that we think they came up in the Ice Age, and then they basically got stuck in glades in these very specific hot habitats. So ours are kind of special. We don't have a ton of them. Even if you see a bunch, especially down south, the more you go north, there's just fewer and fewer. So ours are kind of special. That's what I'd want people to know.
Becky Hansis O'Neill, PhD candidate at UMSL in the biology department. We appreciate your spider expertise, and you are now our spider lady. So if we ever need information, we're calling you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. That is Becky Hansel O'Neill. I didn't know we had tarantulas in Missouri, and now we know this, and now you know that they don't want to hurt you.
I know my dad saw one. They were in like southern Missouri. Maybe at a cabin or fishing trip or something. And I know he saw one, and it was big. But I learned a lot about spiders. Didn't know.
By the way, congratulations to Judy from St. Louis, who won that first 4-pack of tickets to see Soul on Fire, the John O'Leary story. That is next week, October 2nd. We still have another, and it's going to be at Ronnie's Cinema. We still have another 4-pack of tickets to give away, and we will do that before the show is over. It's Chris and Amy on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote Renter's Insurance at progressive.com.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM KMOX.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover here. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free from Universal Windows Direct. No interest for 3 whole years. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
I saw a New York Times article yesterday, the unexpected upside of phone bans in school. And we've talked about how dozens of states now are banning phones in K through 12 schools. Some it's classroom by classroom, and others you have to put your phone in like a little container or bag at the beginning of the school day. I know some schools in the area, private schools, they're not even allowed on campus, so you have to leave your phones in the car. But this piece in the New York Times looked at the Jefferson County Public Schools in Kentucky, among other schools. One of the unintended consequences of a statewide cell phone ban is that the number of books checked out from the school library in the first few weeks of class has absolutely skyrocketed. In Kentucky's largest school district, 40% of students at one high school have checked books out of the library, which is over double the number who borrowed books all of last year combined. Like, that's incredible. We've talked about what happens when you ban cell phones. Kids can focus better because one 1-second glance at a text can distract a kid for 20 minutes. It takes them 20 minutes to get back into a rhythm. We know cafeterias are loud again because kids are talking to each other. But I didn't necessarily make the correlation that if you ban phones, kids will start checking out books and reading again. And it is absolutely happening. I love that because we talked about yesterday how literacy rates are declining. In 32 years that they've been tracking reading levels for kids across the country, they are lower than ever.
And about a week ago, the Post-Dispatch wrote a story about how the Missouri cell phone ban is shaping up, at least in its early stages, because there have been other districts or some districts that had banned them previously, but now it's uniform. So everybody is doing it. And what they're finding is among the students, there are mixed reviews, at least according to the piece. Some students like it. Some students say that there are fewer fights, that they are concentrating a little bit better, that it is there seems like more of a sense of connection. Others are saying things like, well, I'm more bored than I used to be, which is interesting because I was just listening to a Harvard professor named Arthur Brooks. We're trying to get on the show, and it'd be cool if we can do that. But one of the things that he talks about is being bored is good, and that we should be bored because it causes your brain to have thoughts. And when you have some of these thoughts, you might have some of your best ideas ever when you are bored. And he goes on and on about that. There are a number of real benefits to it. And, we are seeing that it at least so far in Missouri early on, the results seem to be overall positive. If the worst thing that comes out of it is some kids say they feel bored more often, big deal.
Yeah, that's great.
Be bored. It's okay to be bored. It's okay for adults to be bored. And even I have trouble doing that. If I am bored, I pick up my phone and I look at it. And I think I should do that less.
When I'm not bored.
Me too.
That's what
Me too.
hate.
I will be out with people and I will pick up my phone and look at it.
It is like a drug addiction. If it were anything else but a phone, people would say, hey guys, Amy has a real problem. She has a real problem during her show, when she's out with friends, when she's watching TV, she can't stay away. It would be a real problem. And that was one of the great things about this hiking trip. When you're in the middle of the mountains and you don't have cell service, it is a huge relief that you can't look at your phone. There's nothing to do. And you could say, well, try having self-control. I have self-discipline. But when you remove the temptation or the option of looking at your phone, it feels so relieving. And I love it that kids are reading, because I love reading. And I have seen my attention span decline precipitously the more I use my phone.
There was a Kirkwood student in that STL Today piece who said, I think my brain is more relaxed and refreshed. And another one said, we need to learn how to interact more because I feel like we're attached to them, talking about the phones. So
true.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, if the worst possible thing that comes of this is some kids say, I feel bored, great. Feel boredom. Boredom is actually good for you. I really am hopeful that we can get Professor Brooks on the show. He'd be awesome to talk to. Chris and Amy on 104.1 FM KMOX. We'll talk Cardinals with John Rooney next.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Currently, it is 71 degrees, a high today of 75, cloudy and very humid. Could be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, probably later in the day if that happens. A low of 60, weather sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Thank you, Missouri, for making Genesis of St. Charles your #1 and most trusted Genesis dealer for 2025. The all-out sellout has arrived. Genesis of St. Charles is out to break all sales records. This month only, receive a $500 gift card with any new vehicle purchase. Want to trade? We're offering more than ever before. These offers absolutely end September 30th. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024, 1 gift card per purchase, prior sales excluded.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Donovan swings and he hits it to the right field corner. Scott's off to the races. He's around second. He's being waved around third. Another double for Donovan. The throw to the plate. Saved! Saved! It's a tie game at 8. The 4th double tonight. A record-tying double for Brendan Donovan. And the Cardinals have come all the way back.
Well, that was a fun one last night as the Cardinals approach the end of the 2025 season. They gave us a show in San Francisco last night. So hopefully you stayed up and listened to it on 104.1 FM KMOX. And you heard that man, John Rooney, on the call, and he joins us now. It's good to have you with us, John. How you feeling after that one?
Where am I? Oh, I just woke up. No, it was a fun comeback. It wasn't fun for a while when the Giants got up to 8 runs, but the comeback was unbelievable. And for the 3rd game in a row, Ivan Herrera has hit a multi-run homer. He had a pair of 2-run homers to help the Cardinals come back against Milwaukee and then win the first game of the series here. And then he hit a 3-run shot, and Nolan Arenado unloaded for his first home run. I think it was the 21st of June, a game winner against the Reds that he hit at home. But he hit a rocket to left field just inside the pole. And Ricky and I were talking between innings when they brought Joel Peguero in to pitch in the 8th inning. And Ricky said, we're not going to hit this guy. And we didn't. He is a hard thrower, has a great slider, but we both said, well, he has the 8th, but their closer Walker has the 9th. And I think we can get a run or 2 off of him because the Cardinals beat him in St. Louis. They were down 2-0 in an Andre Palante start on the 6th of September and came back with 3 runs without an out to win in the bottom of the 9th. And last night they got 2 runs against him, but Brendan Donovan was unreal. He's been playing with turf toe and lower body ailments, and he was able to go and hit 4 doubles, tying a major league record, joining Ducky Medwick and Matt Carpenter, 2 Cardinals who had done it in the past. But his double, and he found the opening in right field. I just took a look to right field right before the pitch, and and the right fielder was playing way off the line over toward right center. And when that ball hit down, I knew Scott was coming around. He's too fast, and they couldn't throw him out. And then another clutch hit for Burleson. Just an exciting comeback last night. I'm glad to see the guys just aren't here going through the motions, playing out the string, because there are guys playing for jobs next year, and they're going about it the right way.
One of them is Herrera, who I think has one locked up, obviously, at this point. And whether he is behind the plate, which they're going to try to get him better behind the plate when he comes back from his surgery in the offseason. And, there's always the possibility he DHs or plays in the outfield again. But Herrera, as a bat, John, has really emerged as a big part of their offense.
Well, he emerged early. Remember, he had the 3 home run game on the opening homestand and then hit one in Boston before he went out with a knee injury. And you consider all the time that he's missed on the injured list with the knee problem and lower body ailments, that he might have 35 home runs the way he's going about it. But the man can hit. And there are times he's going to go through some stretches where he'll pop up or strike out, but he finds ways to make the adjustment and then get back to hitting the ball the way he wants. And we're witnessing that right now. He's on a roll. And Arenado had a tough error in the game last night. Ground ball to third after Palante had loaded the bases, and he threw home. And Patrick Bailey was running inside the third base line like they're taught to do. Arenado didn't have a throwing lane, hit him, and 2 runs scored on that play. And the inning snowballed to a 5-run inning, but he was able to come back. Arenado hit a big home run in the comeback, and I was happy to see that for him.
I know we talked a little bit about Arenado on Monday during Gas House Gang, and we'll continue to talk about him. And yesterday, Ali Marmol mentioned that he's really been such a good clubhouse presence. And I asked him specifically the hard work that he puts in off the field, if that is rubbing off on the younger players who see him as an example. And Ali says it is. How important is it for the Cardinals or any team really to have somebody like that in the dugout, in the clubhouse?
Well, I mean, if you have great players, they will rub off on other players and make them even better. It just happens. Is he a rah-rah guy? No. I mean, he plays with a lot of emotion. And Nolan is one of those guys that every pitch is the last pitch of the season, the 7th game of the World Series. That's the way he has gone about it. Not all players can play an entire 162-game schedule and have that kind of intensity. But that's just the way Nolan Arenado is geared. But it does rub off. I mean, I was talking with Von Herrera, a couple other players. I said, you watch Arenado, some of the plays he's made since coming back from his shoulder issues, you just shake your head. How does he do it? I've seen a lot of third basemen in 40-some years of following Major League Baseball, and I've seen some really good ones going back to Brooks Robinson. Watched him play when I was a kid. And we've seen Scott Rowland in St. Louis and marveled how well that Hall of Fame third baseman played and helped carry the Cardinals to championship. And Arenado just never ceases to amaze me, some of the plays he can make. He tried to get the force out at home and hit Bailey last night, and that was an unfortunate error. And he had gone 73 games without an error before making one on Monday night. And that was a tough error on a low throw to first base. But he comes back with Platinum Glove and Gold Glove plays almost all the time. And he has said in the past, I pull home runs. That's how he hits. And he pulled one last night, and they had to have it in the comeback.
John, we talk about Nolan Arenado, right? His talent, his presence on the field, and also how a lot of these young guys, well, maybe the Cardinals aren't going to the playoffs, but they're trying to earn their spot for next year. But it's easy to take for granted the leadership and experience that Arenado brings as well to the clubhouse. And if he's not with the team next year, where do you look for leadership on this Cardinals team? Because it's a younger team, and you don't want to take for granted what Arenado brought.
Well, you have guys like Brendan Donovan, and you don't know what's going to happen in terms of reshaping the team and what trades will be made during the offseason, because a lot of teams would love to have a Brendan Donovan, and the Cardinals included there. But Donovan, Burleson, those guys have leadership qualities, that's for sure. And I think a guy like Michael McGreevy can move along, and as his career progresses, and you're not going to have that right now from him, but he has those qualities that I see in being able to show younger pitchers and other people in the clubhouse what it's like to compete on a day-to-day basis. Those things develop. They didn't happen overnight for Albert Pujols or for Yadier Molina, but they became huge leaders as time went on, and you have to see how all that plays out. But it's going to be an interesting offseason, probably one of the most interesting off seasons I've ever been a part of in trying to reshape a roster and get ready to get back to competing for championships, because that's the whole idea behind this. And Chaim Bloom, he's not coming in there just to paint. He's in there to reshape the organization and get them back on the right foot.
Yeah, it will be a fascinating offseason for sure. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, how much activity there is going to be, but I think Cardinals fans are certainly going to be paying very close attention to what happens. John, as we get close to the end of the season, and I know you'll be visiting with us on Friday on the Gas House Gang, Mike Claiborne will be part of that show as well. What is it like for you as you start to wind down here with just 4 games left to go?
I have 4 games to do, and then we get to pick our own friends after that.
Poor Ricky.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, they're our family from the time we get down to Florida about the middle of February until it's all over. And we hope that it's over in late October. That's what we like to have, that kind of scenario. But no, you have 4 games to go, and then wind down a little bit, follow the postseason, and then follow what's going to take place in reshaping the team for 2026, because I think it's going to be a very fascinating offseason, and get to the Cardinals Care Winter Warm-Up, the Caravan. And at that point, things really pick up, and you're in spring training doing spring training games before you know it. So the holidays seem to, once you get past the holidays, it's a fast track to getting into a new season. And that's kind of the way it shapes up for me. I'm happy to, see Mike Shildt get a shot to manage in the postseason. And my good friend Tom Hamilton, who was a Ford Frick Award winner, he broadcasts the Cleveland Guardians, and what they're doing is simply phenomenal. And coming back, they lead the division. They're tied, but they have the tiebreaker. So right now, they're the division leader, in Detroit has fallen from grace. They're a wild card at this point. They still have a couple of games to go in their series. That's going to be interesting to follow, and interesting to follow what's going on with Terry Francona and the Cincinnati Reds. But it's still very interesting to follow what the Cardinals are doing, because they're playing like they're going to the playoffs right now, taking 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee and a chance to sweep the series here. And I just saw on the app where Brubaker is going to start tonight, so a bullpen game for San Francisco instead of Robbie Ray going up against Sonny Gray.
Well, John, I know as we got to let you go, but I was going to ask you about the Guardians, because you always say, these players are playing hard to make the playoffs, even if it looks like they have no chance. And the Guardians were 15.5 games back on July 8th. 9.5 games back on September 10th. And man, oh man, there probably were a lot of fans who did not expect them to be in this position. What a comeback.
No, not at all. No, not at all. Because I can look back into 2011, how far the Cardinals were back, and they happened to get in on the very last day of the season. A great game pitched down in Houston by Chris Carpenter, and then make a run and beat Philadelphia, a team that many thought would end up in the World Series. And then the Cardinals beat the Rangers in the World Series in the great Game 6 with David Freese home run. And then the Cardinals were able to come back from a couple of runs down and win Game 7. That's the way that team played it out through September, right on through the postseason. And that's what the Guardians are doing right now. I see so many similarities, but their pitchers just don't give up much. That's the whole key. You pitch it and catch it and find a way to score a run just to be one better than the other guy. You're going to play very late in the season. And I'm really fascinated by what Cleveland is doing. And it was a funny thing, because when we played Cleveland, they didn't look very good. they weren't hitting anything, and the Cardinals swept the 3-game series. And when the Cardinals played Detroit earlier in the season, they looked like they were going to be unstoppable, unbeatable. But you have to play the whole 162 to decide everything, and they're taking it right down to the last few games.
Yeah, Cleveland's only lost 5 times this month. They played great ball, and I love Tom Hamilton too. You mentioned him; he's incredible. One last thing for you, John. We do have a listener named Dusty who was wanting to know, and this is not something I have noticed on the broadcast.
Is that our pitching coach?
No, it is not. It is not. I don't.
Okay.
At least I don't think so. But Dusty asks why you use the term switch batters instead of switch hitters, and wondering if it's an homage to somebody.
Ernie Harwell used to say that, and that's I just always say switch batter. I just kind of like that. Everybody else says he's a switch hitter, but same thing.
Yeah,
they know what I'm talking about. But Ernie Harwell said that all the time, and I thought I kind of like that.
Yeah, I like it. I guess I never really picked up on that.
Sounds good.
Interesting. John Rooney, let's talk again Friday. Gas House Gang, 12:30. But until then, we appreciate you.
All right, you got it.
John Rooney tonight on the call, 8:45 first pitch here on 104.1 FM KMOX. We got the pregame show at 7:50. 7:50. You are going to have to stay up late again tonight, but don't worry, it's the last time you have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last time you got to be up late listening to Cardinals baseball on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're for Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
The KMOX CDFC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra, is back. Next stop, Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Fenton, Thursday, September 25th. A limited number of fans can get an autograph with CDFC player Thomas Ostrak. Register to win great prizes, enjoy great food, and cold drinks. Hot Shots in Fenton, the place to be, Thursday, September 25th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the CDFC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Get ready, because here they come.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's Beatlemania all over again with the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute to the Beatles. Entertainment Tonight says seeing the Fab Four is just like seeing the Beatles. Hey Jude. The Fab Four takes you through the 60s with the music that changed our lives. It's a show you won't want to miss.
Saturday, October 4th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Newton.
Something tells me I'm into something good.
And the Lovin' Spoonful.
Do you believe in magic?
Saturday, October 25th at the Family Arena with the Hollies' greatest hits, starring Terry Sylvester. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon and the Lovin' Spoonful.
When we started Neovitamin back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovitamin Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitamin Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitamin.com.
It's the most inspiring night in sports, the Musial Awards at Stiefel Theater. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event from St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the Musial Awards celebrate those who uplift us through their extraordinary sportsmanship. Experience the remarkable moments and people that make this an event like no other. The Musial Awards, presented by Maryville University, Saturday, November 22nd. Tickets at musialawards.com.
People love fall. It's my favorite season. It's not a competition. My favorite season that I'm voting for in America's next top season is fall.
We have our question of the week, and have you participated and answered?
Yes.
You better. At Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter. Follow our account for all of the updates. And then you can vote in the poll. Which fall month is the best? Your options are September, October, November. I have said that I'm pretty sure October is going to run away with this thing. And so far, the results are proving me correct. So if you have an argument for one of the other months, I'd love to hear it. And we'd love to vote in the poll and then tell us why you think your month is the best. So at Chris Amy KMOX, you should go and vote in that poll. We just spoke to John Rooney, who is the radio voice of the Cardinals. And we had right at the end there a question from listener Dusty, who
Great
texted
question.
in 314-436-7900. Wanted to know why John uses the term switch batters instead of switch hitters, because most announcers, I guess, say switch hitters. And he said, Ernie Harwell said switch batters, and he liked it, so that's what he uses. And Dusty followed up and says, thank you for asking about switch batters. It has been keeping me up at night for 19 years. Okay. Well,
Dusty should have texted in sooner.
I've listened to a lot of John Rooney baseball over the years. Cardinals, White Sox before that. I guess I never picked up on
Isn't
it. I never noticed it.
I know. Neither have I. Or
I like it. I just never
it,
noticed it.
Yeah, because he's done it so much, you associate it so heavily with John that your brain doesn't think to pick up on it as something unique. But you're right. I've always said switch hitter.
Yeah, it's more common, but I like it. I like the change up there a little bit.
I do too. Switch batter.
Yeah, so
Is there any other phrase you could change up, perhaps?
I'll think of something.
Does anybody call pitchers hurlers anymore?
You might hear that every now and then.
Your starting hurler?
The hurler is a little less common now. It's a little old-timey.
It is very. Is it as old-timey as Ducky Wedgeworth or whatever?
Ducky Wedgeworth?
Ducky Wicket?
I didn't hear what.
Yes,
I don't
you
know.
did.
Ducky who?
Joe Ducky Medwick.
Ducky Medwick. That's a baseball name.
It really
Buster
is.
Posey, Ducky Medwick, Stubby Clapp.
Stubby Clapp.
Those are baseball names.
Those are really good baseball names.
Yeah.
Tom from the Hill, from near the hill. Tom is texting in.
From near the hill.
Tom, he has called himself Tom from near the hill. He says he loves December because of Christmas. I told you.
It's not
I
fall.
told you.
Meteorologists don't use the equinoxes.
Yes, I told you though that people were going to associate December with fall. Some people were. Well, Tom from near the hill did.
Yeah, well, he's near the hill and he was near fall, but it wasn't fall.
I don't know if I agree with you on this. We do have another pair of tickets. A 4-pack of tickets to give away for
A pair of tickets.
Don't say that because it's going to confuse everyone. A 4-pack of tickets to give away to see Soul on Fire, the John O'Leary movie. It's for October 2nd at Ronnie's Cinema next week. And this is all courtesy of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. So 100 acts of... What did you look so confused for?
I didn't. That's just my face.
Yeah, no, it's right. Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical, or Electrical and Plumbing. But Jerry Kelly is going to have us all out there on October 2nd, which is next week. You'll have to be listening for your chance to win that 4-pack of tickets. Hour 3 of the show is next on KMOX.
This is Kyle Bush with Crinch Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. Life changes, divorce, loss of a loved one, or an inheritance. It can be overwhelming. We provide the resources, long-standing support, and thoughtful guidance you need to plan ahead. With our help and experience, you don't have to navigate these transitions alone. You can move forward with greater clarity and confidence. Your goals, our mission, start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home. 2 gig upload, 2 gig download, mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Scammers, stalkers, criminals. They're looking for your personal information and finding it easier than you think. With Incogni, you can reduce your personal information exposure on the web. Your name, address, and phone number are shared on hundreds of public websites right now. Your family details, even where you live. It's all online, collected and sold by data brokers without your consent, putting you at serious risk. Someone could show up at your door, use your information to steal your identity, send scam messages to your parents, or drain your accounts in minutes. Incogni removes your personal data from hundreds of websites that expose your details, making it much harder for the wrong people to reach you. Because if they can't find you, they can't harm you. Get 1 year of Incogni Unlimited for 55% off today at Incogni.com and let Incogni remove your personal data from the web for you. That's INCOGNI.com. Take back control of your privacy and reclaim your peace of mind.
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for Breaking News. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
At 11 o'clock, we have clouds and 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Aquino. Our top story, 1 person is dead, 2 others injured in a shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas, and the suspected shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. This audio is from Police Scanner Broadcastify.
Yeah, typical. We got one officer on scene, got one officer route from Channel 5, and it says there's going to be a sniper on top of the roof.
Again, that is scanner traffic from Broadcastify. Officials are not identifying the victim who died. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is pleading with its country's case before the UN General Assembly. That's a day after meeting with President Trump, who did an about-face and declared Ukraine can win the war, and with Russia backing off as long as they have the help of the European Union. President Zelensky condemned Russia in remarks before the UN General Assembly and appealed for more military aid. Zelensky warned drones are evolving in ways that endanger every nation, and he says this war needs to end.
If it takes weapons to do it, if it takes pressure on Russia, then it must be done. And it must be done now. Otherwise, Putin will keep driving the war forward wider and deeper.
There's a growing trend of microdosing with Ozempic and other weight loss drugs. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gonder is an editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News. She explains why some people are doing this.
It's a combination of things. It's cost and side effects. So in fact, some estimates are as many as half to 3/4 of people who start these medications actually stop them within a year. And it's a combination of cost and side effects. Some people cannot tolerate the nausea, the constipation, and so on that you can get with these drugs.
World Trade Center St. Louis is putting Africa's potential population and economic growth under a microscope.
Although the event is sold out, KMOX is giving you a glimpse of the conversation that will be had at this year's growing global event that's happening today. The theme, Africa Rising. It will highlight the continent's growing economy and young population.
What Asia was for me as I was growing up, Africa is going to be for my children.
World Trade Center St. Louis President Tim Nowak.
There's going to be investment opportunities, trade opportunities. There's going to be opportunities for our universities to further connect and find ways for, number one, our companies to sell their goods and their services in this growing market. But also, as Africa moves up that value chain and they're looking at North America as a place to do business, we want St. Louis to be front and center. We want St. Louis to be top of mind.
Growing Global will feature a Rwandan diplomat, a global business leader from Bayer, and an entrepreneur from Ghana. Nowak says his office is planning to do a business mission to Africa to further relations with St. Louis business owners. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Business Desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Ford is recalling 115,000 of its biggest trucks, the pickups, because part of the steering column can detach. WWJ radio reporter Jeff Gilbert.
That can raise the risk of a crash, although no crashes or injuries have been reported. Ford is still coming up with a final remedy for the problem. The impacted vehicles are some of Ford's biggest trucks, the F-250, 350, and 450 from the 2020 and 21 model years.
And a check of the Dow from Stifel at this hour, it is down 153 points to 46,139. A check of traffic. Right now, the ramp is closed from northbound Illinois Route 3 at 5564, and that will be closed for construction work until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Dave Murray has our forecast.
Still a little unsettled going through our Wednesday afternoon. Let's call it mostly cloudy. I don't see a lot of rainfall, but have to keep some scattered showers and thunder showers around. Nothing strong, nothing severe. 77 for the high. Tonight, mostly cloudy. 62 Thursday, partly sunny. Maybe a spot shower, but tough to find northwest wind. That's a good thing. Our low is moving away. 75 for the high. Clear and nice. Thursday night, 58. Friday, sunny, 78. The weekend looks great. Sunny and 84 Saturday. And again on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
St. Peter's at 70 degrees, 70 in Florissant, and 70 downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Brought to you by Duke's Mayonnaise.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by St. Louis Union Station. Step into the next chapter of family fun at St. Louis Union Station, where new rides bring fresh excitement to a timeless destination.
Well, if you're a parent of a school-aged kid, obviously you've probably had to look at ChatGPT or smartphones and how that technology may be negatively impacting your child, their schoolwork, their development, their emotional and mental health. Well, there's another element of technology that could also be harming kids, and that is AI chatbots. The Federal Trade Commission has started an inquiry into several social media and AI companies, including the big ones, OpenAI and Meta, about the potential harms to children and teenagers when they use chatbots as their companions. And joining us now with more information about what we're finding out about AI chatbot risks to kids is Julia Shapiro. She's a business and technology reporter for The Hill. Julia, thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
I don't have kids, but I feel like this would be terrifying if my child had a chatbot companion or I didn't know that they were talking to an AI chatbot. For the layman, can you kind of explain what these AI chatbots are and how kids might access them?
Yeah, so the chatbots are most of the AI, the public-facing AI models that people are interacting with on the day-to-day. So ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, xAI's Grok, and people, including children, are interacting with these chatbots. They type in a question, they receive a response and output. And the growing concern is the way that these chatbots are interacting with kids in particular and the impact that it's having on their mental health.
So what sorts of impacts are we seeing?
Well, in dramatic cases, we saw several parents testifying before Congress last week saying that these chatbots drove their children to self-harm or suicide.
And how are they able to reach the conclusion that it happens from the chatbot? What are they seeing specifically? Do we know that much yet?
Yeah, looking at some of the messages between their children and these chatbots, they see in some cases the chatbots encouraging certain suicidal or self-harm behavior and providing potentially advice on how to conduct self-harm or suicide. And it typically, or in some cases, parents aren't even aware of how kids are using these chatbots. Some of the parents described it. They thought it was just a homework helper, and they didn't know that their child was interacting with these chatbots in a different way.
Yeah, I know there was the story from just absolute tragic story from August of this year. The parents of 16-year-old Adam Rain, I believe, they sued OpenAI because their son had been talking to ChatGPT about suicidal ideation. And they said that the chatbot, instead of providing help or resources, just continued to validate his feelings and offered instructions on suicide methods. This is according to the parents' suit. And I can't imagine as a parent how devastating that would be, but also OpenAI, since they are dealing with a minor, are they looking at some real legal consequences?
Well, I think we have yet to see how this will play out in the courts. We already see some of these companies taking steps to try to change how their chatbots respond to children. OpenAI has been taking steps. They're launching efforts to work on age, technology that could help determine what age users are and send them to a more tailored version of ChatGPT that could maybe take steps to help prevent these situations.
We're talking about using the phrase chatbot, and I understand that ChatGPT is AI, but we've also heard these stories about people dating an AI, an AI bot of some sort. That's different than ChatGPT, correct? Versus I guess I'm a little confused about where you draw the line between the chatbot being a companion and then having these actual AI boyfriend, girlfriend things that we've seen in the news.
Well, in some cases, it does look different, and it acts more as a companion, and it takes on, a specific personality. But in some cases, we are seeing people interacting with even the most basic chatbots in ways they're developing relationships with these chatbots, even if it's not a romantic relationship. They are increasingly turning to these chatbots in ways that they might normally turn to other people in their lives.
So with the FTC looking into these companies, and as Amy mentioned, Google, their parent company Alphabet, and you've got Meta, OpenAI, Instagram, all of them are being looked at by the FTC. How long will this inquiry take, or about how long? And then what might the FTC do once that inquiry is finished?
Well, it's still pretty unclear what the timeline is on this inquiry and really what steps they could take. I think this is it's a very new issue that people are and the government is dealing with, and they're still really grappling with how they could approach this. So we saw the FTC asking for pretty basic information about how these models are processing inputs, generating outputs, how these companies are trying to monitor and mitigate these negative impacts. So I think they're still trying to get a real sense of how these things are happening and how these chatbots are functioning.
It's so clear, too, that right now the technology is outpacing any extant laws or legislature, and it's moving faster than we can respond to it. So the onus really does fall on parents and on guardians. How can a parent, or what signs maybe should a parent look for with their child to see if their child is interacting excessively or in inappropriate ways with AI?
Well, what several of the parents who have encountered these issues have mentioned, in many ways, their children have exhibited typical symptoms of depression or suicide. And so there's no particular resolution yet on how parents can respond to this, but I think keeping an eye for those signs that have traditionally led to some of these harmful outcomes is what those parents have brought up.
Sorry, Julia. One of the concerns that Amy and I, we talk about this quite a bit, is these companies that are behind artificial intelligence, and they all have their different systems that they use, and different degrees of effectiveness. The concern is that the companies are so interested in seeing how far they can push the technology that they don't really stop to think about how harmful it can be. It's just a matter of, how much more can we do, that they don't put guardrails on themselves, or shouldn't be trusted to put guardrails on themselves. Do you have any indication from these companies that they are actually concerned internally about what their technologies are capable of doing?
Well, it's hard to know at this point just, how these companies are dealing with this internally. From the outside, they have put forward steps that they're taking to try to address this issue. I think we are seeing definitely some interest from federal lawmakers about trying to address this issue, through legislation. But it really remains to be seen since where this will go, since Congress has had a hard time passing tech regulation in the past.
Yeah, it's when you look at ChatGPT, because it's generative and it's so different, I'll be interesting to see how free speech falls into this, because I know that might have been Elena Kagan that was saying, at what point does a TikTok algorithm become a form of speech? Because whether you're feeding kids dangerous narratives about suicidal ideation or overtly, explicitly sexual content, like, you couldn't walk up to someone, a kid on the street, and say those things. So at what point does a generative TikTok algorithm or AI chatbot count as speech, forcing this speech on kids when it wouldn't be allowed in any other environment or platform?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that this is an issue that lawmakers are grappling with right now. There have been several members of Congress who have suggested that when these AI chatbots are producing responses, that it becomes speech that is then not covered by Section 230, which is a law that protects these tech companies. It shields them from lawsuits for content that is posted typically on their websites, like social media platforms. But in this case, they're arguing, well, maybe that legal shield shouldn't apply to what these chatbots are producing.
Well, it's a story that we are certainly interested in and will be continuing to follow it. It's going to affect all of us and already is. Julia Shapiro, business and technology reporter for The Hill. We appreciate your reporting. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
This is the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX. Pretty soon here, before we say goodbye, we'll be giving away another 4-pack of tickets for Soul on Fire, a screening that we are going to have October 2nd at Ronnie's Cinema. And we're going to give away that 4-pack of tickets before the show is over. We'll be telling you when. You just need to be listening for that. It is the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Missouri, for making Genesis of St. Charles your #1 and most trusted Genesis dealer for 2025. The all-out sellout has arrived. Genesis of St. Charles is out to break all sales records. This month only, receive a $500 gift card with any new vehicle purchase. Want to trade? We're offering more than ever before. These offers absolutely end September 30th. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024, 1 gift card per purchase, prior sales excluded.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
At California Psychics, we know that sometimes you can wake up thinking,
I don't know if I'm in the right career, or the right relationship.
But whatever your life dilemma, at California Psychics, we'll give you the guidance you need to feel certain about your life choices. And because we only connect you with the very best, we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Let me tell you about this new Pretzel Cheddar Club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
New treatments in the fight against Alzheimer's. Now is the time for action. Join the St. Louis Walk to End Alzheimer's Saturday, October 25th at Chesterfield Amphitheater. Help us see a world without Alzheimer's. Register today, alz.org/walk.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at my favorite sports fantasy app, Underdog. So baseball's still going on. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. You can play right now in Missouri. Playing on Underdog is super easy. Just choose whether your favorite player will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your entries right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code Glover to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Glover. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog, and you could be next. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX, sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium. Explore the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
We were talking about the Cleveland Guardians with John Rooney earlier in the show, but Ron, speaking of the Guardians, their hitter David Fry, he was hit square in the face with a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. And yes, I watched it. The video was on Twitter, and it's not graphic in the sense that he covers his face right away. He's on the ground. People crowd around him. They put a towel on his face. He was taken to the hospital. It was pretty brutal. I couldn't tell if he was like he bunted it into his face or if it hit him in the face.
It hit him in the face. He squared to bunt, and it was sort of up in it, but it wasn't like thrown at him. He just squared to bunt and he missed the ball, it looked like.
Yeah, he totally missed. Right. And so the pitcher from the Detroit's Tarek Skubal,
yep.
Like he looked, he was horrified. He throws the pitch, immediately covers his face, turns around in the other direction. I thought he was going to be physically ill. Like that's how upset he is by this. And like you said, Fry had squared to bunt. So he's visibly shaken. The pitcher is. And Fry, they, put a towel on his face. The trainers come out. He is carted off the field, but he was standing up beforehand and he was sitting up on the cart, which is a good sign. Like I said, he was taken to a nearby hospital. But Skubal was so shaken, and the broadcasters were talking about it, but he was left in the game. And then I believe it was like the next pitch, definitely the next hitter, but the next pitch, he throws a wild pitch, right, in the dirt, which makes sense that you want to keep it down. And in a run scores, and I believe they lose that game. So if you're the manager and you see that incident, which takes several minutes, obviously, and you see that your pitcher is visibly and very shaken by throwing that pitch, do you think about taking him out?
Well, you think about it. I don't think you necessarily have to do it. It's probably a case-by-case thing, because if you feel like he is so distraught that he's not going to be able to continue, then, yeah, you remove him from the game, and the umpires are going to let you warm somebody up, I would think. Because that's an unusual circumstance. It's not like, oh, I forgot to get a reliever up, so let me go get somebody up. A game like that, it was a 2-1 game in the 6th inning. There were runners on base.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but I would absolutely talk to him about it and make sure I felt like he was good enough to go. And it seems like maybe he wasn't.
Right. And as I mentioned, Detroit eventually lost that game, but Skubal is the reigning AL Cy Young winner.
He's really good.
He's really good. After the game was restarted, after David Fry was hit in the face, Skubal threw a wild pitch to Fry's replacement. Then he made another mistake while trying to throw the ball to first between his legs. And then he was called for a balk in the 6th inning. It seems like he was off his game, right?
Probably.
After that moment. I was just surprised. I would think that you would want to take the pitcher out.
I guess, again, it would depend on after I talked to him and assessed on the field. But you don't necessarily have to do it. I don't even know how the guy missed the pitch. How do you miss that? I know it was sort of in at him, but that's a buntable ball anyway. I just don't know how Fry
it hit
missed
him
it.
Square in the face.
And he went to the hospital after it, so that was clearly not good. Scary stuff.
99 miles an hour.
Right to the face. And Skubal's he's one of the best in the game.
Yeah.
Like not even a question. That is you brought the whole thing up to John Rooney when we spoke to him, and the fact the the Guardians were out of it. They were out of the race, and they have gone on an incredible run. There's something like 17-5 this month, and the Tigers looked like a World Series team in the first couple of months of the season, and now they're in jeopardy of not winning the division any longer. That's
Ranj,
nuts.
We did have a caller who had a question.
Yes.
Said, how are the Cardinals 3.5 games out
Oh, come on. Don't make me do math.
if there's 4 games left?
Okay, 4 games left for the Cardinals. There are 5 games left for the Mets, who have that final wild card spot at the moment.
And the
so it's an
Cardinals-
uneven amount of games.
If the Cardinals win out and everyone else loses out,
Yeah, then they can win.
they could be in the playoffs.
I don't think everybody has to lose out. They might. I'm not sure. I just know that everything has to go right.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Diamondbacks have to lose. The Reds have to
Yeah.
lose. The Mets have to lose pretty much all week.
but
for
the thing
rest of
is,
the week.
I still can't get over. This is why every game matters.
Yeah.
The Cardinals lost 5 games in a row and gained a half game.
Well, think about
how
the
big. Like, what if they had won those games? I mean,
Right, exactly.
It's
So
so easily
the
changed.
Giants looks like they might be a playoff team about a week ago. And if they have a better couple of days, like they're out of it. They've been eliminated now. The Cardinals
Crazy.
eliminated them last night. So the baseball race is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun. I just wish that we were deeper into it. You know what I mean?
Old baseball.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. When we come back, our midday, midweek, midlife, we're going to talk to Dr. F. Perry Wilson. A lot of things to discuss with Dr. Wilson. One of the things we are going to get into with him, though, is the Tylenol thing. And we'll get his expertise on Tylenol and pregnancy and whether or not you should take Tylenol if you are pregnant or if it causes autism. We're going to get his thoughts on all kinds of stuff next on KMOX.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey.
I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman. From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM, your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me, makes me cry.
Now that you've heard it, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed early bird specials $49.99. That's right, weight loss seminar, Saturday, October 18th at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration at 1:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Currently, it is 72 degrees, a high today of 75. Cloudy and humid. Could be some showers and thunderstorms later on in the day. Tonight, same thing, showers, a thunderstorm, a low of 60. Weather sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, PennMutual.com/STL. At Penn Mutual, we believe that life insurance is the central part of a sound financial plan and that it can make an enduring impact for generations to come. Talk to your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Fridays mean football. From a zoo to the NFL, we've got your weekend covered.
On three, ready?
It's Friday football on KMOX.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay?
That's close enough.
Well, that was President Trump.
I couldn't say Bo Schembechler for a while. I had a really tough time
Bo
with that.
Schembechler?
Bo Schembechler.
Baseball player?
No, football coach.
Football coach.
Michigan.
Huh.
Go Blue.
There you
I guess.
Well, see, it happens to all
I
of
had
us.
a real tough time with that once.
I said Scooble about 10 different ways in the previous segment, but at any rate, we're excited to welcome in Dr. Perry Wilson, Associate Professor of Medicine and Public Health at the Yale School of Medicine. You heard the clip we played earlier just a minute ago. That was President Trump speaking when he made his announcement about Tylenol, saying that it causes autism and pregnant women should not take Tylenol. So for a little bit more information on that, we turn to the expertise of Dr. Wilson. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a little bit since we've talked.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Good to be with you.
So I guess let's get your response to what the president said, as well as others in his administration. Dr. Marty Makary, the director of the FDA, saying that Tylenol and acetaminophen is not safe for pregnant women. What was your response?
Yeah, this is a situation that I think is becoming a bit of a pattern in the healthcare space with this administration, which is that they're pretty good at identifying some of the problems facing us today. The rise in autism rates is something we should all be concerned about. They don't seem to be doing a great job of finding the solutions to that problem. And that's what this Tylenol thing feels like to me. The center point, I think, that we all have to understand, and what either the administration doesn't understand or is not being clear about, is the difference between correlation and causation. President Trump has indicated that Tylenol causes autism. That is not what the studies have shown. If you read the actual studies themselves, they are very clear about this. Some of the studies, and by no means all, have shown a correlation between the use of Tylenol and autism. And what that means is that you have to think about, why are people taking Tylenol when they're pregnant? And of course, there's lots of reasons, not the least of which being fever, which we do know can have an adverse effect on the fetus. And so maybe the Tylenol is just a marker of some other problem that's going on. And it's that other problem, or the thing that caused the other problem, that is leading to the autism. And that's why we make such a clear distinction between data that suggests causation, A causes B, and data that suggests correlation.
So when we talked to, and I don't know if it was yesterday, I think it might have been somebody who said that getting the flu, for example, while you are pregnant that's not good. You don't want that for the fetus because that could end up causing an issue like this. And if you have the flu, you might have a fever, right? So is it just that maybe you've gotten sick and therefore you have a fever and that fever has affected the fetus, but while you have the fever, you've taken acetaminophen or Tylenol, and that's why people are drawing this conclusion?
Yeah, it can be as simple as that. And I don't want to say it's necessarily fever. There are lots of reasons people take Tylenol. Maybe it's because of headache. Maybe it's because the mother has other comorbid conditions, other comorbidities that might predispose to autism in the fetus, but that also predisposes to the use of Tylenol. It's a bit like deciding that the cause of lung cancer is nightclubs. It's sure there might be a correlation. People who spend more time in nightclubs might be more likely to have lung cancer, but it's not actually the nightclub that's doing it. It's the fact that people who go to nightclubs are more likely to smoke, right? Or something like that. So this data is always interesting because it says, oh, can we explore this a little bit more? But you never want to make that jump to causation because in some cases, the decision you'd make, let's say withholding Tylenol in pregnancy, might actually cause more harm than good, right? By letting fevers get too high or by not adequately treating pain and pushing women into using other forms of pain control in pregnancy, which actually we know not to be safe during pregnancy, things like NSAIDs and certainly opiates. I don't think any of us would want to see pregnant women taking.
Oh, it's really interesting. And I know we first started talking during the COVID pandemic, and we had a lot of questions, and people were, a lot of people were nervous about the COVID vaccine and a new type of vaccine. And we definitely live in an age where everything is politicized. Can be a lot of mockery of one side or the other. And you said, ask questions and talk to your doctor. You encouraged people to do that. So even if like pregnant women or moms, people thinking about getting pregnant, might have questions or feel uncomfortable, would you encourage them to just bring all of these questions to their doctors?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have good access to your doctor, and believe me, I recognize that not everyone listening to this may have good access to a primary care doctor, an OB-GYN doctor. But if you do, they're a great resource. And the truth is, when you're talking to someone face-to-face or even over the phone, it's a lot harder to fall into those sort of partisan traps where you kind of dismiss everything they say. And that can be a great resource for people. Absolutely.
So in this particular case with women who are, and, Amy and I have been doing a segment every Wednesday about, being in your midlife and life decisions. Not middle-aged,
but midlife, like 35, 45.
So we know that a lot of women in their 30s and 40s, if I have the numbers right, it's just over half of all the births that happen in the U.S. Are with women who are in their 30s and 40s combined, most of them in their 30s and a small percentage in their 40s. Are there greater challenges to having a baby, once you get into your 30s? Certainly, I think in your 40s, there are greater challenges. If they do exist, what are they?
Yeah, certainly. We know that maternal age and actually increasing research suggests paternal age, the father's age, can all have associations with the outcomes of pregnancies, ranging from things like preterm labor. And of course, the classic is the increased risk for trisomy 21, also known as Down syndrome, which is quite strongly related to maternal age. So, certainly there are increased challenges, but it's nothing that modern medicine, modern obstetrics and gynecology can't handle. And as you pointed out, so many women are having babies later in life than they would have in decades past, that this is no one is scared about this on my side of the fence here. When you're in the hospital, these are all things that we can handle, and I wouldn't let that dissuade a woman from getting pregnant because she's afraid of the risks.
When we look at women in their 30s and early 40s, I know my doctor had her daughter when she was 45, a perfectly healthy pregnancy and daughter. When you look at that, how much weight do you place on the fact that the woman is 35, 40, 42 versus existing morbidities, whether or not she's overweight, whether or not she has diabetes or other complicating issues?
That's a pretty tough question, and it depends on the outcome that we are thinking about. Are we thinking about autism? Are we thinking about preterm labor? Are we thinking about the risk of miscarriage? These are all things that the different risk factors contribute different amounts to, and they're absolutely great fodder for discussion with an obstetrician gynecologist. In the end, of course, none of us get to change our age as much as we would like to. That's something that's stuck with us, but we can change things like whether we smoke or not. We can, try to lose some weight. Those modifiable risk factors, I think, are good to identify, because if they can be modified, then it's a good idea to try to modify them. Age, unfortunately, we're stuck with.
So when you hear things like, and I'm just, making this number up, but if you smoke, you are 5 times more likely to have a child that has some sort of developmental disability or something. Sometimes that number, like you hear 5 times, like, wow, that's a lot, but maybe it goes from 1% to 5%. So like what in this particular case, these other risk factors that we're talking about, the comorbidities or your alcohol intake or your smoking or drugs or whatever it is you do, how much of a greater risk do those things really put you at, in terms of numbers? Like how much worse can it be? And, what is the danger of engaging in those activities the older you get?
What a great question. If you were a student in one of my epidemiology classes, I'd give you a gold star. What you're describing is the difference between a concept we call relative risk, which is that fold difference in risk. You said going from 1% to 5%, and you say that's a 5 times higher risk. And then the absolute risk difference, which in this case would be, 4%, going from 1% to 5%. And of course, saying, smoking makes your risk go up by 4% doesn't sound quite as scary as smoking makes your risk go up 5-fold times, which is why people often use relative risk when they're trying to drive home a point. That being said, if we think about the population at large, I would much rather have, 1% of pregnancies result in, a miscarriage or something versus 5%. I mean, that's 5 times more miscarriages, even if the vast majority of women don't suffer that fate. So both of these numbers are kind of important to think through, but you're absolutely right. When the risk of an outcome is very low, even a doubling of the risk, as scary as that sounds, means that the risk is still fairly low for the individual who is thinking about that risk. So I often teach my students that relative risk is good for populations and absolute risk differences are good for individuals. I hate to keep saying this is something you can talk to your doctor about, but it is something you can talk to your doctor about. And if we have a moment, I actually want to point out how this works for the Tylenol thing, because I did do some digging here. And I said to myself, okay, although this data was all said to be correlational in the papers themselves, let's just assume it's causative. Let's say that, yep, it is Tylenol that is doing this. It's not the fever that they take the Tylenol for or anything like that. Let's just pretend or assume it is. What percent of autism cases then in that world could we attribute to Tylenol? Or put another way, if we, banned Tylenol, how much would the rate of autism diagnoses go down? And the numbers that I found were around 3 to 4%. So even in the world where we think this is a risk factor, a true risk factor, a true causal risk factor for autism, it's not going to explain the autism epidemic that we see. And of course, that probably shouldn't surprise you, because it's not like Tylenol use has been skyrocketing at the rate at which autism diagnoses have been going up, right? If we just look at that, we know it can't possibly all be the Tylenol. And in fact, if you look at the numbers, if it's anything, it's a very small amount of Tylenol.
So how much of and just what we're talking about here, that there's the number of people who are diagnosed with autism now much higher than it was if you go back 50 years.
Correct.
Is it because there's more of it, or we just are better at identifying it and diagnosing it, or the parameters have changed for diagnosing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the answer to that question, which is to say it's both. I mean, you'll hear people saying that all of the increase in the observation of autism in society is due to better diagnosis and increased diagnosis. I actually don't think that's true. Yes, we are much better at diagnosing. The rate of mild autism, sort of high functioning autism, what you might used to have called Asperger's, has gone up more than the rate of severe autism, which suggests, yeah, maybe we're kind of getting these kids that we wouldn't have recognized a couple decades ago with better testing and better attention to the issue. There's certainly a large chunk of that. I don't think that's everything. I think there's some decent studies that suggest, nope, there's a real underlying trend here. As I said, I think the administration has actually been decent at identifying some of the issues facing kids in this country. This is one of them. Obesity is another one. It's just that they seem to kind of miss the mark when they're trying to figure out what the solutions are. So I'm hopeful that the talk of money being contributed to more autism research to identify root causes will be, well spent on robust research that finds some of the other environmental causes that might be leading to this. But as I said, I don't think Tylenol, I don't think we're done here. Not by a long shot.
I know medical practices change and our understanding of medicines and their risks changes with time because we're constantly learning. Like you said, let's say the Tylenol or whatever medicine was causative of something, some risk that we are realizing now.
Mm-hmm.
Does the current political environment make it more difficult to have a nuanced conversation looking at relative risk versus absolute risk because things kind of explode immediately?
Oh boy, yeah, I know. I've sort of said nuance is dead since the COVID pandemic. I think, the problem is that nuanced takes tend to not get a lot of engagement online. And we have a lot of people in power right now who, for better or worse, are really great at driving engagement. And you see that, I think you see that in what Trump was saying. Trump is not a scientist. I'm sure he was briefed by some scientists, or at least by RFK Jr. He probably got some language that he should say, things like is associated with or is linked to, not causes. But that's not what comes out of his mouth. What comes out of his mouth is this causes autism. You should not take Tylenol. That's an extreme and unnuanced view, which is going to drive a lot of engagement. And all of us are talking about that. And I am worried about this because you tend to get these very polarized sides. You get people saying, oh yeah, this is the cause of autism, never take it. And you get people on the other side, and I've seen this online too, saying, oh, they're idiots. Tylenol is great. And they have no idea what they're talking about. And of course, the truth is, as you point out, we continue to learn. This is how science works. We identify a potential for risk. We investigate more deeply. We find, oh, that's not probably a risk. We check something else, and so on and so forth. And I don't really see anyone in the public sphere right now who is capable of sort of modeling the nuance of medical science. And I worry that it is sort of the nature of societies. There's people want hot takes, and, and medical science tends to be relatively lukewarm most of the time.
It's what we do 9 to noon, hot takes on this show.
Nothing but
that's why we had you on.
Hot takes.
We were hoping you would spit hot takes too.
Exactly, right?
You did great. Dr. Wilson, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Anytime, guys.
Dr. F. Perry Wilson, Associate Professor of Medicine and Public Health at Yale School of Medicine. This is the Chris and Amy Show, and on this show, we got a partner. It's a new-ish partner, and it's the Krentz Financial Group. Todd Krentz, Justin Brown, Kyle Busch, all really great guys, and Amy and I have met with them, and they're awesome. And for 6 decades, Krentz Financial has helped people in St. Louis, families and businesses alike, plan with purpose and live with confidence.
Yeah, and the group at Krentz Financial, they offer a variety of services, and then they tailor those services to your unique needs because they know that life throws a lot at you. And the very best thing you can do is be prepared, have an expert by your side who can give you confidence and assurance through life's changes, whatever that may be financially.
Yeah, maybe you're going through a divorce, or you've gained an inheritance, or you've lost a loved one. Krentz Financial will provide those resources, long-standing support, and that thoughtful guidance. And maybe you've changed jobs. Well, you don't want to leave your 401k just sitting there. Krentz Financial can help you navigate what to do with it and what's best for you.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking about retirement. Maybe you are looking for a financial advisor. Even if your current situation is okay, but it feels misaligned with your goals, be proactive. Go ahead and give Krentz a call. Talk to the people at Krentz.
Really love the people there at Krentz Financial. You can learn more at kfgadvisors.com. That's kfgadvisors.com.
Hey St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board certified master arborist with Timberline Professional Tree Care. In my nearly 30 years in the industry, I've seen firsthand what damage falling trees can do to your property. The sad thing is that most trees that fail have defects that can be identified by a well-trained certified arborist. At Timberline, we have 7 ISA certified arborists, 3 of which have gone through extensive training and testing to become tree risk assessment qualified. Our track certified arborists can perform a thorough assessment of your tree and provide mitigation options for your peace of mind. If there's nothing wrong with your tree, we will let you know that it poses a low risk of failure. If it needs to be removed, we'll tell you in a detailed written report. It's all about honesty and integrity here at Timberline Professional Tree Care. So call us today to get a tree risk assessment scheduled, 636-479-7475, or contact us through our website at stltreecare.com.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefit Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And right now, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is offering their lowest ticket price in years, starting at $55 including fees, only for a limited time. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Football is back, thank goodness. And Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. You can play right now in Missouri, and playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more during football season. There is nothing better. Download the app today and sign up with promo code TOM. That's really important. Promo code TOM to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
You know, the Chris and Amy Show, if we're not anything, it's nice. Wait, we are nice. We're nice. We care about kindness. We like to kill. Oh, James O'Sullivan and the others.
We're not anything if not nice.
That's the thing.
We're nothing if not nice.
Couldn't even get it out right. But what we've done is we've rented out the theater, Ronnie Cinema, October 2nd, for a private screening of the new movie Soul on Fire about John O'Leary, who was our guest earlier today. He's awesome, man. His story is incredible, and we are looking forward to seeing Soul on Fire. And we have right now a 4-pack of tickets to give away for that show, October 2nd at Ronnie's Cinema. We're going to be there in conjunction. We have done this. We're so good. We have done this in conjunction with Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing. 4 tickets.
Yep.
Caller number
4
to the contest line at 314-955-1120. 314-955-1120. Good luck to you. And if you lose, don't worry. We'll be giving them away tomorrow and Friday as well.
Listen, most likely you're going to be a loser, but there's a slightly less chance of you being a loser this time because we're giving away 2 giveaways a day. And usually we give away a pair of tickets, but we're giving away a pair of tickets twice, which is a pair of a pair of tickets.
Guess who's not a loser, Amy?
Matt Pajeski.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Oh.
Caleb Williams, Bears quarterback,
Why?
is the NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
No, that's...
After his 4-touchdown performance against the Cowboys.
How did the Wiener Circle do?
They were slammed.
How many wieners did they have to give away?
I don't know how many wieners. It was a lot of wieners they gave out.
Wow.
And I do know that they got all kinds of advertising out of it. So
awesome.
What, a couple thousand hot dogs you give away? And you made up for it in advertising.
Probably cost
Good for them.
$14 to buy 2,000 hot dogs.
Probably. Oh, man. We should have had hot dogs today. Where's Andrew Stoles? He's the big hot dog guy. Should have brought some in. All right. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji will be back with you tomorrow at 9. The podcast of the show, all the segments, full hours, everything available for you on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Back tomorrow at 9. The Gas House Gang, Tom Ackerman and me, Chris Ranji. We're going to talk to Jeff Gordon, who's been with the Post-Dispatch for 40 years. He is retiring. He's going to join the show as well. Gas House Gang next on KMOX. These lady tarantulas have it made.